As we age, our relationship with food evolves, not just in what we eat, but in how we store it. One surprising truth is that refrigeration isn't always the best solution, especially for certain everyday foods. In fact, keeping some items in the fridge can reduce their flavor, alter their texture, and even impact their nutritional value, issues that matter even more after age 60. When taste becomes more delicate, digestion more sensitive, and every nutrient counts, take potatoes and onions, for example. Cold, damp environments convert their starches to sugar, changing their flavor and increasing the risk of spoilage or mold. Tomatoes lose their sweet, juicy richness in the fridge, while garlic sprouts and turns bitter. Even the beloved avocado suffers if chilled before ripening, and bananas develop dark peels and stunted sweetness. Whole melons lose antioxidants and flavor, and bread stales faster in cold temperatures due to a process called retrogradation. Meanwhile, cold turns honey grainy and dulls its natural notes, and olive oil becomes cloudy, with moisture threatening its quality. These aren't just minor kitchen quirks, they're quiet habits that can rob meals of joy, nourishment, and connection. The good news? With a few small shifts, storing foods in pantries, baskets, or cool dark cupboards, we can preserve their taste, texture, and tradition. It's a gentle reminder that wisdom often lives in the little things. And after 60, those little things, like how you store your food, can make a big difference in how well you feel and how deeply you enjoy every meal. Potatoes are a beloved staple in many kitchens, whether mashed, roasted, or fried. They bring warmth and comfort to countless meals. But what many people don't realize is that storing potatoes in the refrigerator is a common but harmful mistake, especially for older adults who are more mindful of nutrition and health. When exposed to cold temperatures, the natural starches in potatoes convert into sugars more rapidly than normal. This not only changes the flavor, making them taste oddly sweet, but also affects their texture, resulting in a gritty or mealy bite rather than the fluffy or crisp result we expect. More importantly, when these sugar-loaded potatoes are cooked at high heat, such as in baking or frying, they can produce acrylamide, a chemical linked in studies to potential cancer risk. While one plate of fries isn't dangerous, repeated exposure is something to be aware of. Additionally, refrigerators are humid environments, and that moisture can accelerate spoilage, causing potatoes to rot, sprout, or develop unpleasant odors. For better storage, keep potatoes in a cool, dark, and dry place, like a pantry, cupboard, or cellar. Use breathable containers like paper bags, mesh sacks, or baskets to allow proper airflow. And never store them next to onions, which emit gases that cause potatoes to spoil faster. These simple changes preserve not just the life of your potatoes, but also their flavor and safety. Especially after 60, being intentional with how we store our food can lead to better meals, healthier digestion, and greater peace of mind. Tomatoes are a kitchen essential, bright, juicy, and full of flavor. They bring life to everything from sandwiches to salads and sauces. But if you've been storing your tomatoes in the refrigerator, it might be time to reconsider. Refrigeration dulls their flavor, alters their texture, and reduces their nutritional value, especially the levels of lycopene, an antioxidant linked to heart health and cancer prevention. Cold temperatures shut down the natural ripening process, which is what gives tomatoes their rich taste and vibrant color. Instead, refrigerated tomatoes often become mealy, watery, and disappointingly bland. For older adults who may already experience diminished taste sensitivity, preserving flavor becomes even more important, not just for enjoyment, but also to encourage a healthy appetite. The best way to store tomatoes is at room temperature, on the counter, stem side down to reduce moisture loss. This allows them to ripen fully and naturally. If your tomatoes are still a bit firm, leave them out for a few days. They'll soften and sweeten beautifully. Only once a tomato is fully ripe and you can't use it immediately should it go into the fridge. And even then, it's best to let it return to room temperature before eating to recover some of its flavor. These small adjustments in how you treat your tomatoes can transform not just your meals, but your overall nutrition. After 60, every bite matters more, and keeping your tomatoes out of the fridge is one easy way to make each one count. Onions are a foundation of flavor in nearly every cuisine, adding depth and aroma to soups, stews, stir-fries, and more. But when it comes to storing them, the refrigerator is not their friend. Onions are rich in natural sugars and starches, and cold, moist environments like the fridge can disrupt their chemistry. The result? onions that become soft, mushy, overly sweet, or even slimy. Worse, refrigeration can trigger early spoilage and promote mold. One of the most practical reasons to keep onions out of the fridge is their strong odor, which can easily seep into other foods like butter, berries, or milk, leaving you with unpleasant surprises. Whole, unpeeled onions should instead be stored in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated place, such as a pantry or open basket. Avoid plastic bags, which trap moisture and promote decay. Instead, use paper bags or mesh sacks that allow air to circulate. It's also wise to store onions away from potatoes, as the gases they each emit can cause both to spoil faster. Once an onion is peeled or sliced, it's okay to refrigerate it, but make sure to seal it tightly in an airtight container to prevent both odor spread and moisture absorption. For those over 60, when digestion and nutrient absorption become more sensitive, taking care in how you store and prepare ingredients like onions can preserve not just their flavor, but also the quality of your meals. A simple change in storage can make your kitchen fresher and your food more nourishing. Garlic is a cherished ingredient in kitchens around the world, known not only for its bold, savory flavor but also for its impressive health benefits. Whether you're roasting vegetables, seasoning soups, or preparing a classic pasta dish, garlic adds depth and warmth. However, storing garlic in the refrigerator is a common mistake that can ruin both its taste and its texture. In cold environments, garlic tends to sprout quickly, producing green shoots that taste bitter and alter the overall flavor of your meals. The fridge also introduces unwanted moisture, which can lead to mold growth, softness, and spoilage. In addition, garlic is highly absorbent. It easily picks up odors from other foods, leaving it with strange flavors that don't belong. The best way to store garlic is in a dry, well-ventilated container like a mesh bag, open basket, or paper bag. Whole bulbs should be kept at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, and never sealed in plastic. Once you break apart the bulb and begin using individual cloves, try to use them within a few days. If you chop or crush garlic ahead of time, it can be stored in the fridge briefly, but only in a tightly sealed container. And if you preserve garlic in oil, it must be refrigerated and used within a week to prevent bacterial growth. For those over 60, maintaining freshness and flavor in your ingredients can make a meaningful difference in both nutrition and enjoyment. Treat garlic with care, and it will reward you with rich, unforgettable flavor, meal after meal. Avocados are a beloved superfood, creamy, nutritious, and packed with heart-healthy fats that support brain and cardiovascular health. Especially important as we age, but storing avocados properly is key to enjoying their full flavor and texture. And putting unripe avocados in the refrigerator is one of the most common mistakes. Avocados ripen naturally using ethylene gas, a process that only occurs effectively at room temperature. When placed in the fridge too early, this process is halted, leaving you with an avocado that feels hard, tastes bland, and never fully ripens. In some cases, the flesh may even turn rubbery or black inside. To enjoy avocados at their best, allow them to ripen on the counter. You can speed up the process by placing them in a paper bag with a banana or apple, which releases ethylene gas and encourages natural softening. Once your avocado is ripe, only then should you refrigerate it, and even then, for just a day or two to prevent over-ripening. Cut avocados require extra care. Brush the flesh with lemon or lime juice to slow browning, and store in an airtight container. For those over 60, avocados offer vital nutrients like potassium, fiber, and monounsaturated fats, but these benefits are best preserved when the fruit is stored correctly. By respecting the avocado's natural ripening cycle, you ensure it reaches your plate in its most flavorful, nutritious form. A simple shift in storage habits can mean better texture, taste, and health, all from one humble, green fruit. Bananas are one of nature's most convenient and nourishing snacks, soft, sweet, and full of essential nutrients like potassium, fiber, and vitamin B6. They're especially valuable for older adults, offering quick energy and supporting heart and muscle function. However, storing bananas in the refrigerator is a common mistake that can ruin both their appearance and taste. Bananas are tropical fruits that thrive in warm conditions. When exposed to cold temperatures, their skin darkens rapidly, turning black or brown, often making them appear overripe. But oddly enough, the inside may still be underripe and starchy, because the cold halts the natural ripening process. This phenomenon, known as chilling injury, causes the cells inside the banana to break down, leaving a strange texture and muted flavor, even after returning to room temperature. Instead, bananas should be stored at room temperature, ideally hanging on a hook to reduce bruising and promote even airflow. Keep them away from other ethylene-producing fruits like apples if you want to slow down ripening. Once bananas become too ripe for your liking, don't refrigerate, freeze them instead. Peel them first, then slice or mash them for future use in smoothies, oatmeal, or baked goods like banana bread. For those over 60, proper storage means fewer wasted bananas and better nutritional value in every bite. A ripe banana, enjoyed at its peak, is more than just a snack, it's a naturally sweet source of energy, easy digestion, and comfort. Treat it well, and it will always treat you kindly in return. Uncut melons, such as watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew, are refreshing, hydrating fruits that offer a burst of natural sweetness and important nutrients like vitamin C, beta-carotene, and antioxidants. Especially for older adults, these fruits support immune health, fight inflammation, and aid digestion. However, storing uncut melons in the refrigerator can actually reduce their flavor and nutritional value. Melons continue to ripen after being harvested, and when left at room temperature, this natural process enhances their sweetness and improves texture. But when placed in the fridge too early, ripening is interrupted, resulting in a dull, watery, or rubbery texture and a noticeable loss of flavor. In fact, studies show that melons kept at room temperature contain higher levels of antioxidants, which are essential for healthy aging. Watermelons in particular suffer from cold damage, causing their cells to break down and the flesh to lose its crisp, refreshing quality. The best way to store uncut melons is on the kitchen counter or in a cool, shaded area until they are fully ripe. Once you slice the melon, it's time to move it into the refrigerator. Be sure to wrap the cut pieces tightly or place them in an airtight container, and consume them within 3 to 4 days for best flavor and safety. For those over 60, this small shift in storage habit helps preserve not just taste, but also the healing properties that these fruits provide. Let melons ripen fully, and you'll enjoy every juicy, nutritious bite just as nature intended. Bread is one of the most comforting and familiar foods in our daily lives. A warm slice with butter, a sandwich at lunch, or toast in the morning often brings back fond memories. But for many people, especially older adults trying to make their groceries last longer, storing bread in the refrigerator seems like a smart move. Unfortunately, it's quite the opposite. While the fridge may slow mold growth, it actually makes bread go stale faster through a process called retrogradation, where the starch molecules crystallize, drying out the bread and leaving it crumbly and flavorless. The cold environment draws out moisture, resulting in a soggy crust and a tough, dry interior, making your morning toast far less enjoyable. Instead, fresh bread should be kept at room temperature in a cool, dry place like a pantry or bread box. Keep it in its original bag or wrap it in a paper bag that allows for slight airflow without drying it out too quickly. If you don't plan to eat the bread within a few days, the best option is to freeze it. Slice it beforehand so you can take out only what you need. When reheated or toasted, frozen bread tastes almost as fresh as the day it was baked. For older adults who value both nutrition and nostalgia, preserving bread properly ensures it remains soft, satisfying, and ready to nourish. With just a few mindful storage habits, you can enjoy your favorite loaf to the very last slice, warm, comforting, and full of care. Honey is more than just a sweetener, it's a symbol of natural healing, tradition, and longevity. For generations, it has been used not only in tea and toast but also as a natural remedy for sore throats, wounds, and digestion. What many don't realize, however, is that storing honey in the refrigerator is unnecessary and even counterproductive. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize quickly, turning it thick, gritty, and difficult to scoop or spread. While this crystallization doesn't spoil the honey, it alters the texture and diminishes the smooth, rich experience that makes honey so enjoyable, especially when stirred into warm drinks or drizzled over breakfast. Even more concerning, the moisture that can build up inside a refrigerated honey jar may lead to fermentation if the container isn't sealed tightly, especially risky for raw or unpasteurized honey. Thankfully, storing honey the right way is simple. Keep it at room temperature, in a tightly closed glass or food-safe plastic jar, away from direct sunlight and heat. A pantry or cupboard is the perfect place. If your honey does crystallize, You can easily return it to its liquid form by placing the jar in a bowl of warm, not boiling, water and stirring gently. For older adults, honey offers both flavor and function, a wholesome addition to the diet that supports immune health and provides gentle, natural sweetness. By treating it with care and avoiding the fridge, you preserve its integrity, flavor, and the rich heritage it brings to every spoonful. Olive oil is more than just an ingredient, it's a symbol of nourishment, tradition, and heart health, especially cherished in Mediterranean cultures and increasingly valued by older adults seeking wholesome, natural fats, rich in antioxidants and healthy monounsaturated fats. Olive oil supports cardiovascular health, brain function, and reduces inflammation. However, storing olive oil in the refrigerator is a mistake that can quietly compromise its quality. When exposed to cold temperatures, olive oil begins to solidify and turn cloudy, forming waxy lumps that affect both texture and ease of use. Although it may return to liquid form at room temperature, repeated chilling and warming can deteriorate its flavor and aroma over time. Worse yet, refrigeration can cause condensation inside the bottle, introducing moisture into the oil. Even a small amount of water can encourage spoilage or bacterial growth, especially if the oil is not stored in an airtight container. Instead of placing olive oil in the fridge, the best practice is to store it in a cool, dark place, like a pantry or cupboard, away from heat sources like the stove or direct sunlight. Use a dark glass bottle or stainless steel container to protect it from light and always keep the lid tightly closed. For those over 60, olive oil is a gentle yet powerful ally for longevity and well-being. By storing it properly, you preserve not just its flavor, but also the full spectrum of nutrients it offers. Treat it with care, and olive oil will continue to enrich your meals and your health for years to come. As we grow older, it becomes clear that small, thoughtful habits can make a big impact on our health and well-being. Something as simple as how we store our food, choices we often overlook, can affect flavor, nutrition, and even long-term wellness. This isn't just about keeping fruits and vegetables fresh, it's about preserving the value of every bite. Foods like tomatoes, avocados, bread, and olive oil have unique needs, and by storing them properly, we not only protect their taste and texture but also retain their essential nutrients, something especially important after 60. When our bodies are more sensitive to change and recovery takes longer. Avoiding the fridge for certain items helps us prevent waste, reduce exposure to harmful compounds, and enjoy meals that are richer in both flavor and nourishment. These are the kinds of mindful shifts that don't require much effort but offer lifelong rewards. It's also about honoring tradition, the way our parents or grandparents used to store garlic in baskets, keep honey in the cupboard, or ripen avocados on the counter. In returning to these simple ways, we reconnect with the wisdom of the past while caring for ourselves in the present. After all, true wellness doesn't come from big, dramatic changes, but from the gentle, daily rituals we choose with love and awareness. So whether it's letting your melons ripen naturally or keeping your olive oil in a cool, dark place, remember, these small acts matter, and over time, they can lead to a stronger, healthier, and more joyful life. One of the most meaningful lessons from this content is that wisdom often lies in the smallest, everyday decisions, even in how we store the food we eat. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive, and every choice we make, what we eat, how we prepare it, and where we keep it, carries more weight. It's not just about preserving flavor or avoiding spoilage, it's about protecting our well-being with simple, thoughtful actions. A tomato left to ripen on the counter, bread kept soft in a pantry, or honey stored gently at room temperature. These aren't just storage tips, they're gentle reminders to live with awareness, patience, and care. In a world that often rushes toward convenience, there is deep wisdom in slowing down, listening to our bodies, and honoring the natural rhythms of life. These lessons are not new, they come from tradition, from the quiet habits of generations past who understood the value of freshness, simplicity, and respect for what we consume. For older adults especially, embracing these mindful practices is a way to stay connected to health, to memory, and to meaning. It shows us that living well isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters, with heart and intention, one small choice at a time.